If you've been low carb for any length of time, you have a list. You know what I'm talking about. That list of food items that you really miss. Biscuits and gravy were at the top of my list. Not anymore. Hi, I'm Tina, and on this channel, I share low carb, high protein recipes that taste good. I eat low carb because I have to. I have reactive hypoglycemia, and a low carb diet is the treatment. Now in the South, biscuits and gravy is a staple breakfast item. This is what your granny made you for breakfast. Heck, our fast food restaurants even have biscuits and gravy. You can drive through Hardee's and pick it up for breakfast on your way to work. Now, I'm not gonna stand here and tell you that this is a one-to-one replacement for a buttermilk biscuit, because it's not. But what it is super darn tasty. I mean, it is really good. And once you add that sausage gravy to it, you're definitely not gonna feel like you're settling for some low-carb biscuit wannabe. Now let me show you how I make it. This recipe utilizes my low-carb baking mix, which I have put on my channel, and I will make sure I link down in the description below if you haven't had a chance to make that yet. So it starts off with 2 cups of that baking mix. So I'm gonna put that right in the bowl. Oop. And since everything's in the mix, that's all we got to do with that part. And now we're going to move on to the wet ingredients. And this starts off with 2 eggs. There we go. And we're going to add a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. And a 1/2 cup of sour cream. And last but certainly not least is the teaspoon of apple cider vinegar that we're gonna add. And this is going to activate the baking soda that is in the mix, and it causes it to form carbon dioxide bubbles, which is what's gonna help give it its lift and tenderness. And you'll get to see that when we break them open. All right, so I'm gonna mix this up and be right back. Now that we've got this all mixed up, we're just going to mix the wet ingredients into the dry. So we want to just mix this to where it's moistened. You don't want to over mix it. And once you've got it fully mixed, we are going to put it in the refrigerator to rest for 10 minutes. And you're not going to want to skip this step, because then you're not going to get the right texture on your biscuits. But this mix has coconut flour, and it has oat fiber in it, and both are really absorbent. So you want to give them a chance to soak in all of the liquid so that you don't have a tough, gritty biscuit. All right, so we've got that just combined here. If you take a look at this, it's a little bit on the wet side, kind of like a drop biscuit's gonna look. Maybe a little bit wetter than that. And it's gonna firm up as all of this takes in the moisture. So let's put this in the fridge for 10 minutes. While the biscuit dough is resting in the refrigerator, we're just gonna go ahead and cook up the sausage real quick and get that out the way. So for this one, I chose turkey sausage just to keep the calories and the fat count down. If you want to, you can of course use regular sausage. So let's just cut the end off of this. And I've always found this to be so difficult, and I don't know why. I can never get these little things off the end. If anybody else has that problem, hit the like button for me. Here's a fun fact for you. Biscuits and gravy became a widespread Southern staple in the late 1800s. It was an inexpensive, high-calorie meal for farmers and laborers. Kind of funny, considering here we are in menopause, making it a food that we're using to stay low carb to lose weight. Now here I want to show you what the dough should look like when it comes out of the refrigerator. So it's a little bit tacky and sticky, almost kind of fluffy and puffy, because it's soaked in all of that liquid. See? So it's going to look like that. Okay. Now let's get started making our biscuits. Use an ice cream scoop. Unfortunately, my bigger ice cream scoop that I normally use broke, so I'm using a smaller one. But you're gonna get 6 biscuits out of this if you use the normal size ice cream scoop. So I'm just gonna make these a little bit fuller because my scoop is smaller. Sorry about that. All right, so we're gonna get 6 biscuits out of here. Once we get them on our lined cookie sheet, then we're just gonna wet our fingertips and we're gonna just shape out your biscuit. You don't wanna flatten them because they are gonna flatten some in the oven where they actually cook. But you just wanna smooth them out just a little bit, make them more rounded like a biscuit. Wetting your fingers keeps the dough from sticking. One thing I should call out is that I use 2 cookie sheets when I make these biscuits, and that way they do not get too brown on the bottom while they're getting nice and golden on the top. Now we're gonna pop these in the oven for 15 minutes. So while the biscuits are in the oven, we're gonna go ahead and make our gravy, which is super simple because we're using this gravy packet mix from Watkins, which I was so excited to find since it's organic and I don't see a lot of organic gravy packet mixes. I got this on Amazon, so I will link it down below in the description. Basically, you're just gonna put this in here. Now it calls for 2 cups of water. Now I've trialed this recipe multiple times in various versions of adding cream to make a richer gravy. And I found that the best combination was to use 1 3/4 cup of water with 1/4 cup of cream. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in here and turn this on. And you'll just wanna continually stir this as it starts to heat up. It'll start to thicken. And once it thickens up, a couple little bubbles popping up and it'll be ready to go. Yeah, when I tried this, the first time I replaced the 2 cups of water with 2 cups of cream, and that was like paste. It was super thick. Then I tried it with 1 cup of water and 1 cup of cream, and it was still just a little bit too thick for me. I probably could have just added more water to thin it out and just had extra gravy, but I was trying to get the macros down for everybody. So what I did here, the 1/4 cup worked out perfectly, and I've done it multiple times this way since. Okay, now you see it's starting to thicken up. It's pushing back on the, whatever this is called. All right, see a couple bubbles popping up? There we go, we are done. Need to stir in our sausage. Nice and thick and creamy. Can't wait to give this a taste. Now let's get them biscuits out of the oven. Oh, there we go. Look at those pretty biscuits. All right. Let's check the bottoms. It's nice and golden. Let's break one open. It's probably really hot. Oh yeah, there we go, there we go. Take a look at that. See all those nice little air pockets that the apple cider vinegar created? It's nice and tender. I want to wait for the gravy. All right, so let's give this a try with some gravy on it. Biscuit, put some gravy on here. I have Miss Bell Bell over here at my feet waiting on her taste test as well. All right, let's give it a try. Get some biscuit and some sausage, gravy. A little happy dance. This is so good. The creaminess of the gravy, all of that peppery, southern, biscuity goodness flavor. Sausage is nice and savory. The biscuit soaks up the gravy nicely. It's got a very good savory bite to it. You're definitely gonna have to give this one a try. All right, let's talk macros. If you use MyFitnessPal to log your macros, I do have this loaded in there under ShePrepsSmart Biscuit and Gravy. Each serving has 30 grams of protein and 3 grams of net carbs. Now, I created a printable that, like I do for all of my recipes for you, but good news is I also got my website up and running this week. So I will provide a link directly to that recipe down below. And for my TV viewers, I will pop a QR code right here so that you don't have to worry about going back to your computer to get to that recipe. If you haven't already seen the baking mix video, I will drop a link right here that you can go into. And if you have, I will put a link to my breakfast playlist right here so you can see my other breakfast items. If you find something you like, I hope you consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you for watching my video.